The fix is back in. The fix is back in. Stephanie White is conflicted. Geno Ariana, bold statements. We're going to talk about that and more today on the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. Folks, I thank you for tuning in. This one here, sit back, relax. This one's going to be a story on top of the story. And this one here is not a good story at all. Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever coach, is conflicted. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know where to turn. So she elected to support Cheryl Reeve. Adam Silver has had enough. Drop the hammer. $15,000, say something else, I'll take your entire season check. And that's where this is going, folks. And Stephanie White, Indiana Fever fans, I know the love and affection that you have for Stephanie White. It's a sad day, but this one here, I mean, it's not going to get any better. And Stephanie White being conflicted, now we have to question, is Stephanie White going to try to go out and win today, or is Stephanie White going to let Becky Hammon have the win? Okay, because here's where it's all going. You've got Stephanie White, Becky Hammon, and you got Cheryl Reeve. Cheryl Reeve is got the harshest penalty I've seen in 2 years, right? I'm going to ban you and fine you $15,000. I think Cheryl Reeve may be banned from the WNBA. I think if Becky Hammon continues to go down to this place at the pace and tempo that they're going, Becky Hammon could end up banned from the WNBA. Folks, let me understand what you're talking about here, and I'm going to do my best to explain it and do it in a way, in a fashion that you may understand. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate the comments of clients sent in saying, hey, you know what, I share this with my son. Well, this is one you're going to want to have him watch. The fix is back in. The fix is back in. Stephanie White is conflicted. Stephanie White is in a situation again where she may have to face Bonner and Alyssa Thomas. Now, the last times I've seen Stephanie White or the Indiana Fever play against Thomas, I told you that was a gimmick. There used to be a lot of tape on her shoulder, right? But the conflictedness of Stephanie White not being able to coach against the Connecticut Sun players, who now they're waiting to face them in the NBA Finals. This one caught my attention because now we've got to look at this totally different after what Stephanie White did. In the Indiana Fever, the love and affection that you have for Stephanie White, you may lose a coach because the coach, there's a lot going on out here, folks. There's a lot that's going on in this story, and there's more to this story than what's going on. There's more to the story of Stephanie White. I'm going to talk to you about that. Stephanie White left the game for personal reasons. We don't know what those personal reasons were, but I saw Stephanie White take liberty to put herself above the team, the same way Reeve did. Now, you're getting ready to go play a game 5, but you go to the pregame media and you're going to tell them that you got fined for supporting Cheryl Reeve. Now, you can't be lukewarm, you can't be hot or cold, and you can't serve two masters at the same time, because God is a jealous God, and he understands I'm at the throne. Anybody else that's offering you anything, and let me tell you what's being offered to the WNBA players. They're sitting on a mountaintop, and they're being told right now, you can have everything that you see. That's right. I'm going to break this down for you, folks. Stick with me. Get your coffee. If you love the bacon and eggs, or you want to get your tea, or you want to get on the treadmill, this is the show, Money Mike Syndicated Radio, you want to get on, because I'm going to really dive down deep and take this to another level when the fix is back in. The fix is back in. And I'm telling you, as clear as day, Stephanie White is conflicted. Conflicted. I told you she's going to have to make a choice. She's going to have to choose the Indiana Fever, or you're going to have to choose the W. And if you want to choose the W in the Simon family, we're all in that, we're there. Or is the Simon family backing up what Stephanie White is doing as the Indiana Fever organization, and does the Indiana Fever fans know this? Meaning, does the Indiana Fever fans know that the organization of the Indiana Fever, their season ticket holders, know that they are in support of Cheryl Reeve? Because the action that Cheryl Reeve, okay, and one thing you can't do, you can't be lukewarm. You can't say, you know what, I praise, give praise, honor, and glory to God, and then go on the other side and you're praising the enemy for what they've done when they've done wrong. They have flat done wrong. And it was brought to my attention that you got a situation, a person was kicked out of the game, and here what it was, they kicked the male out of the game, but there was a lady that reached out her hand and touched Cheryl Reeve. This is confliction. Now, let's break it down because Congress and the FBI will be here shortly. WNBA, who are the leaders, and if people question their business acumen, these guys are the best in the world. And let me tell you why they're the best in the world, because they're going by evolution and innovation. AI is coming to the game. Adam Silver has made a global commitment to bring AI to the game, the technology. Now, when you get in a situation like that, and you've got Unrivaled, which I've already told you, the NBA owns Unrivaled. Folks, you want to dig back, dig a little deeper, you put up the NBA and put Unrivaled behind. They got a whole banner. They got everything, Unrivaled NBA. So they got you on loan. But what they're going to do, they're going to sabotage and starve you out. But before they get to that, okay, before they get to that, you got Geno. You talk about Geno, Ariana, UConn Mafia. You talk about Stewart and Collier. Folks, you got to dig down deep on this one, because this one here, I'm going to tell you what you got and why Congress is coming. It's going to be hard on a lot of people. This one here is going to shake up people's lives because you got the WNBA, the fix is in. Now you got Congress is going to investigate the fix. Congress is going to send the FBI into the WNBA players' world. They're going to clip every clip. They're going to take every email. They're going to take every text message. Because here's what's up. You've been taught and told something, but you're out of your league on this one. And this one here is not going to end pretty. It's going to end the careers, the line of Curt Flood of a lot of players. Because right now, you have what you call as mutiny. And you got Cheryl Reeve, you got Becky Hammond, right? And you sucked in Stephanie White because she's on the Indiana Fever. But you've had fans all year long questioning Stephanie White's loyalty to the Indiana Fever. Not being able to coach against Bonner. Was there more to that story? Okay, there's a lot of rumors out there, guys. I don't report rumors, but there's a lot of stuff circulating out there of what Stephanie White's personal reasons are. Okay, and this one here is not pretty. Okay, you're getting into something where Geno, right, has put two people in a conflict of interest representing the WNBA Players Union. I want you guys to follow me on this, and I want you to understand where Money Mike is going. Folks, in this country, we have Jimmy Hoffa. Okay? Collier. All right? You got Collier and you got Stewart. They're doing a Jimmy Hoffa move right now. There's coercion behind. And the FBI, here's where Congress and the FBI is going to come. And let me tell you, when you get to Roger Goodell, folks, I'll tell you about the NFL. Boy, they got the cleanest background check. They know everything about you. You coming in there. They got so many public relations director. For every media person in the building, the NFL can assign a public relations person to be with them the entire game until they understand who you are. I know it because I went through it, right? They're going to check you out and they're going to follow your story and make sure that you're here representing because you got a lot of coercion and collusion. And you've got gambling, you've got betting, you've got a lot of things that are happening weird here. And what they're trying to do is point a picture of saying it's the WNBA officials. Folks, I'm going to tell you this in the science of the game. I'm talking about the science of the game. I have never, ever heard of officials causing injury. Let me just give you an example of that. Major League Baseball, you have umpires, right? Umpires call ball and strike out safe. Right? How can an umpire get a player injured? It's not possible, right? Then you got the NFL, which is a full-level contact sport, which has been reducing the safety and injury and reducing the tackling, the hitting, right? Because they had to go before Congress, right? Because they got CTE, right? And now, but the official in the NFL are not the ones causing injury, right? It's the players who are causing the injuries now, but they're blaming it on the officials. I have never seen anything like this. And can someone out there, because I got the most intelligent fans, I mean, trust me, Money Mike loves you because you keep me clean, right? You can hit me back on this one. Can somebody send me the science, the definition, the study, the author's definition of a WNBA official or a basketball official that will cause injuries, right, at a professional level? I'm not talking about junior high school. That's different. I'm not talking about high school. I'm really not even talking about college, because college doesn't really have this problem, right? But the WNBA is hanging its hat on the injuries. Now, you've heard a lot of people say a lot of things, like Candace Parker, we're going to make these guys pay, right? You got Collier, we're going to force you to do this. We're going to force them to do that, right? But you got what you call here, folks, and when you get to Congress, because see, before Congress gets here, they're going to send the FBI. Folks, let me back up, and Money Mike's going to tell you how the game really worked and what my experience in grassroots, and everybody didn't have the same experience, right? Because the FBI got involved, right? The FBI, that's what's coming to the WNBA. The FBI is coming in, and what they're looking for here is coercion and collusion. They're going to be looking at mail fraud, and they're going to be looking at any kickbacks or any money or revenue that's been sent for a coercion and a collusion that's taking place, which is really on the federal level of criminal activity, right? Because we got to understand Collier, Stewart, Geno, right? Geno's over there bashing the game worse than anybody else. Now, here's the problem with their business model. They don't have the capital to do this. They do not have the capital to do it. And the platform that they're doing it on, once the WNBA takes that platform away from a year, they're going to go silent. They're going to go dormant. They're going to be back to 200,000 people watching Unrivaled, and that's it. This thing here, because here's what happened, and I told everybody right from the beginning. See, you got to look at the league itself, the NBA and the ABA. Okay, you got the WNBA called the ABA Unrivaled, right? There might be 4 or 5 teams that survive out of that league. The rest are going to fold, and people are going to lose a lot of money. They're going to lose a lot of money on this one. I mean, a lot of money, because you're operating on a bubble, right? You're throwing out evaluations, you're throwing out numbers, and you're doing this. And, of course, you got the NBA sitting right there, and they're not happy. Adam Silver is not happy, right? So, Geno, the question is going to come. Geno's going to be sitting in front of Congress, right? Because they're going to get all up in Geno's Kool-Aid. He don't know it's coming yet, but they're coming for you, Geno. The FBI is coming for Geno, because they're going to want to go in there. Well, excuse me. They're going to want to go in there, and let me tell you what they're going to do. At AT&T, folks, we got all the power. We have all the control, okay? Me coming from corporate America, I understand one thing, is I understand what it means in America to stay on your side of the tracks. The women are out, they need to be on their side of the tracks, and when you start going at the billionaires, they don't play for it. They're going to crush you like a bug, and you may not agree with me, right? I'm not looking for agreements. Well, Money Mike will always tell you, it's my opinion. When it turns to truth, I'm giving you the facts way before it happened. And folks, being in the industry, understand the market industry of supporting and managing so many accounts. I can tell you now, the WNBA is just a single headquarters in New York. They got 16 locations they're building out, and this is their plan, right? And Money Mike, as I was communicating with John Stanky, John, this is a simple fix, okay? Because I understand the corporate devices. I understand what the capability of them are, right? And when you get into coercion and collusion, the FBI, let me tell you what happened, folks. They went in and they looked at all the bribery, right? So there were some people that went to federal prison behind this, okay, because they were doing bribery. Now you got a situation where you got a conflict of interest. 2 individuals that the CBA did not allow to have separate representation for the union members, okay? And they're going to prove that. The FBI is going to prove it to you, right? And here's where you get the 3 top dogs, they're going to send them after. Let me tell you who they're going to send them after to get. They're going to send them after Stephanie White. They're going to send them after Becky Hammon, and they're going to send them after Reeve. And when the FBI gets you, folks, let me tell you how this works. Okay, in the NFL, John Gruden was the head coach of the NFL, just like Cheryl Reeve. Same situation. Gruden's a fighter. I mean, he didn't take it sitting down. So I'm anxious to see how these players and these coaches are going to take it because they're putting in a fix. The fix is in. You're going to have to question if Indiana Fever win today, right? Will they have the spirit and mind, and can Stephanie White coach that game, the WNBA Finals, legally? Can she do it without any coercion? Can she do it? Because I've watched Stephanie White not coach a team and take a loss. Okay, and this is where I backed up when I talked about the fixes in. I'm talking about the integrity of the game. They're going to get you because when the FBI went in there after NCAA basketball, let me tell you what they found. This is what happens when you got to go in front of Congress. They're going to pull all your skeletons out the closet. They're going to pull them out early. They ain't going to pull them out in a subjective manner. They've got your conversations. They got your emails. They got your text messages. They got every step you take. They know what time you log on. They know what time you get in your car. They've got people following you, and they are watching the money flow in the background. And this is where it's going to get really interesting because Geno's over there talking about the basketball league, and he's saying all this stuff. Now, what Geno has done is put two of his players to run point for all the WNBA players. Here's where it goes. And now the FBI's got to go find out, did they get kickback money on this? Where's the money exchange? Because that's where the criminal activity is going to come in. And this is how this thing's going to work. And it's going to strip down a lot of people because a lot of people, right? You guys are sitting here and everybody's saying, okay, this is a bad business. There's nothing wrong with the business model. It's the people who are doing business within the business model. And this situation with Collier, okay, and Stewart coming up there representing the league, coming out of there when I saw, players of the WNBA going, this is way over my head. And when you start leading them down the path and you've been paid to do it, you've been paid to do this, right? You've been paid to do it. And now we got to understand when you were getting paid, who else got paid? Because folks, in the NCAA men's basketball, and I knew all the players. I knew all the players involved. I knew all the players were there. I knew all the players who got the people who got the kickback. Come to Money Mike. That's not my game, right? Because why? Because I had a business, Showtime Hoops, within basketball. I had a business that I was able to generate revenue. And what I mean by that, I mean our business could generate $200,000-$300,000 a year, right? In the basketball. So I didn't have to take money for the sake of a player. And I've been down the path, and I know the code, right? Because the code is, Coach, if there's anything we could do for your program, you let us know, right? Because you want the player, right? Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting, because you're going to find out if people are betting on these games. You're going to find out if people are WNBA players betting on these games, right? Who's betting and who is leading the coercion and doing the fix? Because here's a situation that I just saw. I saw Stephanie White support Cheryl Reeve. So if Stephanie White supports Cheryl Reeve, then she doesn't support Caitlin Clark, right? And this has been the way she's been all along. This is a bad situation for Indiana. Indiana may lose a coach, may decide to fire a coach, right? Because at the end of the day, the skeletons in the closet are going to come out, folks. I don't have anywhere to do it. I'm talking about the WNBA owners. I'm talking about Congress. I'm talking about the FBI. And they are looking, and the Supreme Court, which is already on deck. They've already voted on this situation, right? Because it's already set. And no matter who it is or where it is, whether it was Reagan, Nixon, Bush, it doesn't matter to me. You got to respect the office of the president, right? And now you've got a total situation, right, where they're going to lose control of this. And when they lose control of it, it's going to be tough because Geno has got two players running point, but he's bad-mouthing the WNBA. You got people thinking the WNBA business model is a bad business. It's not a bad business model, right? Well, what they do know is they got a fix, they got a coercion, and hey, folks, you've been seeing people get fined $50, which is equivalent to 10 cents. They slap out there $15,000. I don't know what these coaches make, but I tell you what, you want to get out of line again, Stephanie White, keep making your coach. Indiana Fever going to lose a coach. I'll tell you that right now. Indiana Fever going to lose Stephanie White. right? Because either Stephanie White is not committed to the Indiana Fever, because if you're sitting there with Caitlin and the team, and I always tell you guys, at the end of the day, I don't really go after players. I really look on the organizational level. And if something's going on there that you need that's not right, I'm going to get you out of there, right? I'll get you out. And I'm very experienced at doing it because I do it in the NFL, right? You have to understand when the Patriot want to do it the Patriot way, I just get on the horn and tell Mark Davis, right? Hey, Mark's from Chico State. I'm with Chico State. It's not going to matter, right? But this guy's not with you, Mark. It's time for him to go, right? He's fired. He's gone, right? It's no question. Sacramento Kings, you just should have traded De'Aaron Fox long ago. I told you it's going to cost the general manager Murray his job, right? He got fired, right? When I was there in the Oakland thing, I'm sitting next to Lowell Kuhn, who was a great mentor for me. Really learned a lot from him in the media. Great Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Great journalist, right? I'm sitting there with Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson, are you going to take a stronger hand in the Raiders, or are you going to take a stronger hand in the offense, defense, especially? And he got up there and said, I'm going to take the strongest hand. I'm going to be in the offense, the defense, and especially I'm going to make sure this whole organization. You know what happened? Next day, Mark fired him. He fired him, right? This is where I'm going with this. Stephanie White is going to be out, right? Because Stephanie White is not a leader. Stephanie White is a follower, right? And I always question that. Now I realize Stephanie White's not a leader, folks. She's a good coach. She's good for Indiana. But I'm telling you, man, she's selling Indiana. She's smiling in your face, but selling you out right in the back. And I was questioning it. And I said, how in the world can you go over there and support Cheryl Reeve when Cheryl Reeve did that to Caitlin Clark? That's where the rubber is going to meet the road. And you know what? People are being hoodwinked. People are being bamboozled. Geno set this out from the gate. Man, there's money floating around. Follow the money. See, if you get with Money Mike's going to follow the money. I'm looking for kickbacks. Okay, I'm looking for collusion. I'm looking for coercion. And I'm going to track all of these emails that are out there. And folks, this is how it works. This is why it doesn't make any sense to me. I see the NBA players talking about they get these messages and everything. From our world, in the corporate environment, when we set you up with content management, let me tell you how content management works. We're going to let you hand out 300 devices to your employees. We manage the content to that. We understand everything they send out. We understand everything that happens, right? Now, nobody's going to track 20,000 or 50,000 messages off of one phone until you get a criminal activity. Now, that's where the FBI comes in. FBI is going to come in and say, I want all WNBA players text messages, right? They're going to get into invasion of your privacy, and they're going to find out what you really got going on, right? Because if you got any conversation about gambling, you got any conversation about coercion, or you got any conversation about collusion, okay, you're committing a criminal act, right? And when it comes down the pike, okay, when it comes down the pike, and I'm telling you, when you do something wrong and they're out to get you, they're going to get you. Folks, they got John Gruden, right? And John was pissed because John's like, hey, you found all my emails, but what about the other people involved? We're not after them. They're after Cheryl Reeve, we're after Becky Hammond, and we're after now Stephanie White, right? This is how this game is going to get played. It ain't going to be pretty. They're going to jump in there. They're going to investigate ESPN. ESPN is going to follow up under investigation too. Why? Because when they start looking at if they start looking at Reeve, they look at Hammond, and they're going to look at Stephanie White, all of their text messages, all of their emails. They're going to find out they're talking to other individuals. It's how it broke, folks. In the NCAA basketball, when the scandal went down, they were looking for basketball. But you know what they found? They found they got a rowing coach over there. All right? They found that we've got other people who are taking more money than basketball. So while basketball is getting 100, 200, 300,000, you had people going in there getting on Harvard or getting on, not Harvard, but getting on, I'm not going to single anybody because I don't have the list, but you have people going in there who are getting their kids in school, celebrity, and paying $400,000 because they understand the value of the degree, right? But they're putting them on the rowing team. They've never rowed in their life, right? So what happened? You had other people were arrested, not just for NCAA basketball. They found out there's a collusion and a coercion that's going on. I will guarantee you this. There is collusion, there is coercion, there's Geno, and man, when I saw the conflict of interest of Stewart and Collier, I said, there's no way you come out of there and you make a statement that the NBA doesn't want anybody playing any other leagues, and you're trying to pump this up. Players are going to be done. Right? Because here's the thing, folks. Here's what happens. It's nothing to pay every player. $150 million is not going to break the bank of a billionaire, right? You could pay him $2 million a year. It's not going to break the bank of a millionaire. And it's not your talent that really does it. It's not the best restaurant in the world does not have the best chef, right? They have the vibe, the environment, they have the ambience, they have everything that you need to make it selection easy, right? The WNBA is fighting a process for a trend, right? They're fighting for activism. They're fighting to be able to do something with no money. It's not their platform. If the WNBA doesn't play for a year, Unrivaled will just about go out of business because the only way they can stay in business is through competition. See, they're pinning this on the competition. But when the WNBA and Out of Silver eliminates the competition, then the game's going to be over. And people are going to lose. They're going to lose big. What I'm telling you here is the fix is back in. That's number one, right? You've got coercion, collusion. It's like Jimmy Hoffa here, right? Because you can't, there's no way you can trust the players union. There's no way that you can sit here with me, look me straight in the eye and say, trust the players union. Because the players union is not, they're not there for the players. They're there, people, you know what people are doing? They're stuffing their own pockets. Right now, they're stuffing their own pockets. Then after they stuff their own pockets, this is real time, Money Mike, I'm giving it to you. It's not going to be my most popular one, but it is one I got to do. While they're stuffing their own pockets, then they're coming back and offering less. See, here's what they do. Okay, you two go be the lead of the CBA union, right? Now we're going to push coercion in an offer, okay? Because it comes down to now, well, what do you guys think you can get the women to take, right? And then they may say, well, I can get them to take $1.5 million a year, right? Well, that's too much. How about I give you each $2 million and you get them to take $750,000 a year? See, this is where the game is going, folks, and all of this is going to come out. All of it, because there's too many skeletons in the closet. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Pod, and I've heard people say they're the WNBA business model. The WNBA business model is wrong? Are you out of your mind? Are you literally out of your mind? If I ask one player in the WNBA explain the business model of the WNBA to me, how far do you think they would get, right? They're not even paying attention. So they're an open bait target for coercion, right? Because they're saying, I trust you, but you're not digging down and getting to the facts. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of coercion. There's a lot of collusion. You got Geno has planned all this from the start. Geno has spoken on it. You got Stewart and Collier leading individuals, right, for the CBA union, which makes no sense because they're owners of another league. Congress is going to get a hold of this and have a field day, right? Because Congress, the FBI director, they do this every day. They do it 7 days a week, every day. WNBA players and all the coaches and they don't do this every day. They're not in there like the NFL with FBI directors and retired employees for the FBI walking around the building, right? But that's coming. And when that comes, well, they're going to tell the truth about a lot of people. And they're going to release some stuff, right? Just like they did with Jon Gruden when they were releasing his racism. They're going to release a lot. And fans, I'm telling you, you're going to be there. You're going to be right. You know what this is, folks? This is like the movie A Few Good Men. Did you order the code red? Did Collier, right, and Stewart order the code red, right? And that's what you're dealing with. Did these guys fix these games to fix who could be the MVP? Did they fix who could be in the WNBA finals, right? This doesn't make any sense, but it's going to make sense. And this one here, I'll tell you this, the fix is back in. Stephanie White is 100% conflicted. And I told you guys a long time ago, Stephanie White's going to need to choose. She needs to choose between the W and the WNBA. Stephanie White chose the W. So now the Indiana Fever is sitting with a flag sharp. Here you got Caitlin and all these other players. Stephanie White's not for the Indiana Fever. And she can look you in the eye and tell you that, but she's not. And I will guarantee you this, the Indiana Fever, if they win, somebody needs to take a deep, hard look and say, can Stephanie White coach against the Phoenix Suns? Because whatever triangle she got going, whatever's been going down with Stephanie White, and folks, there's a lot of stuff floating on Stephanie right now. Okay, things are popping up, right? Because some people are saying, hey, this one here is not what they're letting you know it to be, right? And I'm going to let it develop. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, the WNBA, Geno, Breanna Stewart, Collier, Congress, FBI. We're looking for coercion and collusion, okay? And they're going to find it, and I guarantee you that. All things are possible to those who believe. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're going to look at Game 5. But folks, this one here, I got to bring it to you. And you know what? I'm praying because you know what? These women got a golden opportunity. But what they're going to do is going to slip through their hands. I've seen it, folks. They're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to lose a lot of money. I'm talking about USFL type money, right? USFL going up against the NFL. You're going to lose a lot of money, right? Or you're going to get in there like Pete Rozelle and Al Davis, and you're going to go at it. And what you're going to win, you're going to win $1, right? You're going to spend $10 million on legal fees, but okay, you won. You got $1, right? Here's $1. I don't know how it's going to fix, folks. I just think that we finally get something that's good, but it's underlining people who are involved in it that shouldn't be involved in it. Don't believe the hype, folks. They're bamboozling and hoodwinking you, and they're doing it right in front of your eyes. They're doing it right in front of your eyes. Because Geno's had this. I told everybody, I said, this Unrival's just going to keep growing and growing and growing, right? But I didn't know they were going to stick these two young ladies in there and put them in criminal activity, because that's what they're doing. Because they're going to check Collier's, all of her text messages, right? I'm going to prepare you for what's coming. Breanna Stewart, they're going to check all of your text messages. They want all of your emails, right? This is how it works, folks. You don't have a choice in this. When they start this investigation and you sign your contract, you're giving them authority, right, to go get that information. You may be shocked at what you find. You stay tuned. Money Mike's going to tell you. It's my opinion. But when it turns to truth, I'm giving you the facts long before it happened. Folks, I'm giving you some deep, dark facts, and I'm telling you it's not what you think. It's not what you think. These people are not for the WNBA, and there's a lot of coercion and collusion. And for Geno to set back where you putting your people ahead in the Unrivaled League, and then you're going to utilize your platform. I'm going to tell you another thing too, folks. By the time they get done with Geno ain't squeaky clean too, because they're going to dig deep. I guarantee you, just hang tight. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Folks, I hate to bring this one, and it's not at the time, but I'm telling you, Stephanie White is conflicted. And it's going to cost the Indiana Fever. And I'm sorry to say it, it may cost you a championship today.